we've got a superstar on today with us. She joined us last week and just blew everybody away with her excitement, her enthusiasm, and most importantly, what she does, her training, her tips, her strategies, her nuggets. So get your notepads out. Listen to this lady. She doesn't just teach it. She practices it. She preaches it. She does it every single day. And that's why her business is absolutely exploding. So with that, platinum leader, Trisha Costa, I'm excited to hear what you got for us today.
Good morning, guys. It is such an honor to be on these calls with all of you. You guys are all amazing. I am so grateful for this opportunity. I cannot thank you enough for putting this together. This is what I've prayed for probably 18 years that I've been in this industry. I mean, this opportunity is second to none. And you are right when you say that there's nobody else that could do this. I have seen companies with one product, not even a fraction of this growth. 4 months, you guys, one product, 4 months, backup orders. They couldn't fulfill orders. They can't do customer service. I cannot wrap my mind around how you guys are keeping up with this. Every day I'm like, there's no way. How are these guys keeping up with customer service? They are delivering products. If something is on back order, it's back in 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, and they have all these products. So I don't know how you do it, but I'm grateful you do. We're all grateful. Keep it up. Keep doing it. And guys, I want a little tip. Every time that I listen to this call, I write a Facebook post. They give you so many nuggets. Just write a post. So just a quick tip. I just wrote a great post. As soon as we are done here, I'm going to go post all the things I heard on the call. I put all the items together, and that's my Facebook for the day. So today we're going to talk about two things: inspect what you expect, and KPIs, which is the key performance indicators. So those two things are so important. How many times do you say, oh, it's not working for me, it's not growing fast enough? And I will ask you, awesome, because a lot of people reach out to me on Facebook, even people that are not on my team. I don't mind, I'm always happy to help. And my question is, how many people did you reach out to today? Oh, a lot. A lot is nobody. Like, don't tell me you reached out to a lot of people, right? A lot is who? Like, is it a lot is very subjective. What's a lot to you may be very little for me. So I need to know exactly how many people did you reach out to today? And how many people did you follow up with today? And where is that? What was the follow-up about? Did they do the free tour yet? Or they haven't done the free tour yet? So you need to know where you are in your business if this is going to go anywhere for you. Did you post on Facebook today? Did you have a story on Facebook today? I go sometimes when people reach out to me. Somebody reached out to me yesterday, not on my team, but again, I'm happy to help anybody in this company. I'm madly in love with this company. I told my husband, I'm like, it was love at first sight. I am so madly in love. I just can't get enough of this company in my life. And listen, when you tell yourself that you're busy, you offend me, okay? I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm a daughter. I'm so involved with my mom and dad, like 1,000% of the time. And I'm a full-time real estate agent. I'm a broker. I have a real estate team. We were a top team in the state of Arizona last year. We sell over 100 houses a year. I have 4 condos here in Mexico. I'm in Mexico right now. And I do all of it. I coordinate check-ins, reservations, maintenance, housekeeping, all of it. And I'm not busy. I have plenty of time. Everything is fun in life. You tell yourself, my day has 50 hours. It's amazing. I have time to do everything, right? Life is fun. And I love helping people. It doesn't matter if they're on my team or not, because I have time for this whole company. If 250,000 people want to reach out to me, I have time for you. And I'm going to give you my full attention. But I need to know what it is that you're doing. Don't lie to yourself. Oh, I was so busy today. I'm so tired. It's all lies that you're telling yourself. You're not too tired. You're not too busy. There's always enough time. Just be grateful every day and inspect what you expect. What is your goal? Don't say, oh, I want to hit silver. By when? How many people are joining a day in your team? You need to know all your numbers, key performance indicators. So if you don't know every single one of your numbers, how many you're reaching out to, how many you're following up with, how many are joining your team every single day, How many in each leg? How many have you enrolled? Treat this like a real business. This is not a hobby. This is a business. So when you go to work for somebody else who does not treat you the way these people treat you, and you show up 8 hours a day and you pour yourself into it and you give your all, you need to do that here 10x, because this is your business. So keep it organized and focus on high payoff activities. Just sitting on Facebook, liking posts and commenting on posts is not going to grow your business. So you need to be the main character in your business. You're the leading actor in your business. So you are the one who needs to know what's going on. You are the one who needs to be focusing on high payoff activities. What are high payoff activities? Number one is you've got to reach out to people every day, and you have to set a goal. It's not just you wake up in the morning and you're like, oh, let's just reach out to some people. And then you don't know how many, and you're confused and you don't know who you followed up with. So how many? I reach out to 100 people every single day. It may be way too many for you right now. That's fine. 5, but you got to have a goal. And the secret, consistency. So I would rather see somebody reaching out to 5 people every single day than 100 on Monday and then none through Friday. That is a nightmare, right? It's like going to the gym once a month and being like, man, I worked out 10 hours on Monday and now it's 30 days later. Wonder why my muscles are not growing. You're better off going 20 minutes, 5 days a week, and you're going to see results. This is just like working out, right? Consistency. Right? Yeah, every single day. Hey, I don't go to the gym for an hour every day, but I work out 6 days a week. 6 days a week, I'm getting my workout and I'm fit. I'm old, but I'm fit. I'm there. And it doesn't matter how old I get. I'm always going to be the youngest one in the room because I'm taking my greens, my reds every day. That factor 4. My husband's a physician, you guys. He is obsessed with factor 4. He's like, the whole family, my mom, your parents, my siblings, your sister, like everybody needs to be on factor 4. He's like, this is the most fantastic anti-inflammatory product I have ever seen in my life. And this is a difficult man to please when it comes to products. I've never seen my husband support one product in any of my MLM experiences. First time. He's on all the products, madly in love with this company. So you guys even got my husband in love. That's like unheard of. 20 years and he hated everything. Now my husband is in love. So going back to the business here, guys. So how many did you reach out? How many did you follow up? How many Facebook posts? What does your page look like? Because the guy that reached out to me to ask me about his Facebook page, all he had was links that he was sharing from basketball and crazy stuff. One of them had a guy flipping me off on his page, basically. I'm like, you guys, you got to inspect your Facebook page, because when you're reaching out to people, the first thing they do is check your profile. Who are you? Are you serious about this business? You got to ask yourself, are you the leader? Are you the sponsor that you wish you had? And if the answer is no, when people click on your page, they're thinking the same thing. They're like, I don't want to join with this person. Right. I like the idea of this company. I'm going to look for somebody else. So, and the word's getting out. I enrolled somebody. Was it yesterday? Yeah, it was yesterday that he came in and he said to me, you are the 5th person who reaches out to me. I went to your profile and I said, this is the one I want to join with. So your profile has to be professional, right? I'm a realtor. I can't have a profile where somebody's flipping you off on my page. You're not going to want to work with me, right? If I'm just sharing videos of basketball all day, you're going to be like, this girl's a joker. She's not really doing this business. So become the professional that you wish you had as a sponsor, and everybody's going to want to join you. And then be very serious about your follow-ups. Just very serious. Just say, listen, I saw that you took the free tour. You would be insane not to join this company. This is the best thing that's ever happened to my professional life. You have to join me on this. Don't miss out this opportunity. This is incredible. You're never going to see another opportunity like this in your lifetime. Are you ready to get started? Ask people, are you ready to get started? You'll be blown away how many people are going to say, yeah, let's do it. Because people always ask me, how do you follow up? I'm like, are you ready to get started? Do you have your credit card ready? And they say yes. So guys, that's it for today. Back to you, Ben. Thank you so much for inviting me again. I love you guys. I respect you. I can't say enough of the gratitude that I have for every single one of you. Thank you.
No, thank you. That was freaking amazing. Oh, again, you're welcome. Please come back. That was powerful. I've got a lot of follow-up. Ryan, I know you heard something in there that you want to comment on, so I'll let you take that.
Oh man, Trisha, you nailed it with consistency. A little bit every day is so much more valuable and impactful than a lot, in a random amount of time, right? And just one occurrence. So good job, Trisha. You absolutely crushed it. Your messaging was solid.
Nice. That's not the thing I thought Ryan was going to comment on. The fact that her husband is a physician,
yes,
and loves Factor 4 and is telling all his clients, all his patients, and everyone he knows that they need to be on Factor 4. That is huge. That's a huge testimonial. That is awesome. But man, I've got a whole page here of notes. I'm not going to reiterate all of them. I will send out an email with them, though. But I do have a couple questions. And there are a few things I want to kind of elaborate on. So when you say you hit 100 people a day, how do you track that? How do you count that?
So I don't focus too much on the 100 that I reach out to. So I don't track that. Doesn't matter to me, because if they don't even see the message that I sent out to them, some people don't really check Messenger. So if they're not even seeing that I sent a message out, I'm like, oh, whatever. But the ones that do respond to me, I do have a little spreadsheet that I put their names on. And once people respond, I'm a beast. Like, move out of the way, man, because you're joining my team. You're either going to block me and unfriend me, or you're joining me. It's going to be one of the two, because I'm coming for you. Once I see that you saw my message and you're like, yeah, I will take a look. Now it's every single day. Every single day. I have reminders on my phone every day. I go in and I'm like, hey, did you take the free tour? Did you get a chance to take the free tour? Hey, have you seen the free tour yet? I know you asked for the link. Hey, I will not leave it alone until they either block me, they unfriend me, they yell at me. I'm going to keep following up. So, because a lot of times people have to see you there 10 to 15 times before they go, okay, I got to do this because this woman's going to drive me crazy. She followed up like 10 times in a row and I haven't even responded yet. So I might as well take this free tour. Now, once you take the free tour, then the beast is like 10x. Like, if you took the free tour, man, you are joining my team, because I think I shared this last week, but I go to securemyposition.com. I copy their email address. I see how many people have joined since they joined. And every day I'm like, hey, yesterday, I told you that this many had joined. Now this many have joined. Well, hello again. I told you yesterday, this many had joined. So I follow up every single day. I follow up. And again, I'm busy because I have my real estate team. I have the condos here. I have to drive down to Mexico almost once a week. I bring my mama with me because she's my best friend. And I'm on the phone the whole time we're driving down. My mom is so supportive. She's like, that's fine, honey, just be on the phone. And I'm doing three-way calls for people. Sometimes we park on the side of the road in Mexico and I'm on a Zoom. I open my computer in the car and we're doing Zooms. So it doesn't matter how busy you are. There is always time to do something that you're passionate about. The bottom line is, if it's important to you, you're going to find a way. And if it's not, you're going to find many excuses. And this is important to me. This is number one in my professional life right now. I'm obsessed with this. So I find a way and I find the time no matter what my day brings.
That's awesome. They say if you want something done, give it to a busy person. And
amen.
This is a perfect example of that. But a few things that I love: to be the main character, the leading actor, or as Lisa says, the captain of your ship. I love asking them at the end. Like, people are afraid to ask for the sale, if you will, or to close. Are you ready to get started? Or I have a good friend who, the way he does it, he's like, look, you want to just buy some products, or do you want to become a member or an affiliate? Like, those are the options. It's not, do you want to get started? Yes or no. You want to just get started with some products, or do you want to become an affiliate also and make some money in the compensation plan? Like, that's the question you guys should be asking people when they're taking a look, when you talk to them, when they pre-enrolled. You want to just get some products today, or you want to sign up as an affiliate and make money, lock in your position? There's no other option. They got to do one of them because they need it. But yeah, awesome stuff. Trisha, thank you so much.